man, guys start falling out. Jaden first, then Alo with the calf, and then we get 2 guys to foul out. So with a walking wounded and to be able to beat a team like that was incredible. Jonathan Lawson, KO, Elijah McCadden, Demarie Franklin came in the game with Chandler and Kendrick and just kind of held it down, pushed the lead out and played beautiful basketball. I think it was one of our best halves in the first half with that group on the floor. I'm always encouraging those guys to stay ready. I know it's hard because they're competitors to wait on their turns. Their turns are here now, and they showed up and did really well for us.
What's up, Pete? I know you had a great first half, but in the second half, you got killed on the boards. Was it because of your lack of your thin bench with all the guys out, or what led to that domination in the second half?
Just not doing it. I mean, if you see our pregame, you see our practices, that's all we talk about. They just got to put it on their minds. If you want to go far, we're going to have to rebound. You know, we're winning the game most of the time, and these teams start going on getting to another level with intensity and physicality, and we stay the same, and then all of a sudden they just start getting back, they get back into the game because they're just out hustling us and out scrapping us. Our second halves, we pretty much out of the 12 games, we've lost a lot of those on the rebounding edge because we just stay the same. You gotta elevate as the game goes on. That's how good teams are gonna do it.
As coach in the second half, kind of explain that the out of bounds play.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't see it tip. I must have been talking to somebody. I didn't know it was a dead ball, and I called a play for us to go out of bounds. First time I called that play in 7 years, and just made a mistake. I didn't know he tipped it out of bounds early because I was talking and wasn't paying attention. When I was in the timeout, I drew it up, and then as soon as they blew the whistle, the coach was like, "Oh, they did tip it." I was like, "Man, I wasn't paying attention." So probably was talking to somebody on the bench and didn't know it. Glad it wasn't for the game.
Penny, I'm curious, how would you evaluate DeAndre Williams' game? Obviously, gets in foul trouble again, makes some huge plays for you late, then gets that technical. I'm curious, how would you just evaluate what the kind of roller coaster there?
Wow, that's all I can say. I mean, DeAndre, he's a beautiful soul, man. I love that kid so much because I know what he's gone through. But in this basketball game, he's so emotional. He lets his emotions get the best of him. But he made some huge plays in the end. And I did not agree with the call when they said that he fouled because he had the rebound. We're trying to help him understand that you can't overturn the call. And then you get a technical behind it again like you did in Alabama. And then all of a sudden,
what are you thinking as he's running up the court with the ball? Man?
I'm like in my head, he's not doing this again. And he did. And we keep talking to him about it. He feels so bad about it after the game, but during the game, he just can't control it.
And then he picks up the 2 early fouls in the first half, and you mentioned that group. I think you scored 19 of the next 25 points after it was 18-18, and you scored 19 of the next 25 points. That group of role players you mentioned, how important do you think that could be moving forward, what they were able to do today?
Well, very important because after the Alabama game, I told myself I was going back to being strength in numbers. You know, that's always been my thing here. Strength in numbers was going to be what it was, and they made me look great today. I don't really like playing KD 37, 38 minutes, you know, when you got guys over there that are capable because we want the energy to stay high. And we did a terrific job until the end. We just didn't close the game, but it's important to have that group playing well because we're going to need everybody. We're back to strength in numbers.
Coach, talk about Demarie back here, man. Just what he brings. I see aggressiveness. It seems like he was more comfortable this game than he was the previous game, and adds another aspect to your ball club.
Yeah, it's just physicality and toughness. We did miss Keontae tonight for sure because that was another able body. But Demarie brought that. He brings the toughness, man. He's just going to fight every possession, and he's going to allow himself to be coached, and he's a perfect teammate. So when you bring a guy on the floor that doesn't have an ego, that's going to run through a wall, you know, you'll always have him out there, you know, with your team because he's always going to be a guy that's going to do whatever it takes.
You mentioned Keontae. What's the latest on him?
Concussion protocol.
When did that happen?
I asked him, man, and he said he didn't remember, so it must be a really bad concussion. I didn't say okay, I'm joking. But I didn't see it in the game, so I don't know when it happened, but it's concussion protocol.
But it
Our
didn't
trainer
happen
said,
in practice or anything?
no.
Okay.
After we got back from Alabama, he came in the next day and it was in a daze.
And then you mentioned Alo and Jaden, or what's the specific? I know Alo is reaching for his calf.
Yeah, he's overcompensating for that ankle a lot. And as hard as he plays, he usually has a calf start to act up. And I think he shuts himself down before it gets worse, because he had that in high school a lot. Had a lot of bad ankle injuries, and then the calves start, giving way, and he has to come out of the game. And Jaden said something about his hip right now, but it's happening at the right time because a break is almost about to come, so they can kind of rest. But we got one more big game next week, but before our conference starts, so we'll be able to rest up some bodies.
The last thing for me, the losses tonight were fill in the blank.
Spectacular. They're winners. Chandler and Jonathan are both winners. They played for me and won for me. They won it for the university. They're just ready. They're ready for their moment tonight.
Benny, I got two for you real quick. We talked about DeAndre's foul trouble, but obviously the other guys too that were in foul trouble. Y'all had like 27 fouls. They hit 27 free throws off those fouls. What does it take to kind of preach discipline to your guys? And I know some of those calls may be questionable or whatever, but how do you kind of tell them to be more disciplined, play more disciplined?
We're gonna have to do more drill work in practice, honestly, because we are fouling too much. We gotta respect that the ref is gonna have a quick whistle, as aggressive as we are. And we're gonna have to be more in contained defense and not be so up the line, because they're calling a lot of touch fouls. So for us, we're just gonna have to do more drill work on that.
And you talk about strength in numbers. Those guys like KO, who was excellent tonight, and Elijah McCadden, Jonathan Lawson, all those guys that weren't playing a ton of minutes. What's it taking for you to kind of get them to be patient when you've got 7, 8 guys in front of them?
Yeah, that's the toughest part, because Jonathan knows that he can play. KO knows that he can help. They've understood that I've gone with the veteran guys. And they've just waited their turn. They still work really hard. And not around the practice facility sulking that they're not playing. They were just waiting on their moment. So, again, after the Alabama game, because our guys were so exhausted, I got back to the mindset. It just didn't happen because guys got into foul trouble today. I was coming into the game with their mentality of playing more guys because we're switching up defenses.
Hey, Penny, back here, over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. In a game in which DeAndre has the 4 fouls, but you need him in there, he can't be as aggressive as usual on defense, so you give up a lot. If you have the full arsenal of your bigs, obviously you didn't have Malco, is that offensive, defensive switches in that situation to protect it?
For sure, and that's why we've been working on zone a lot, because if you put them in the zone, they can protect them as well, but we're not as confident in zone right now, but that will protect them as well. But yeah, if you have all the bigs, you sub offense for defense. Right now, we had to have them on the floor. We tried, and then KO, fouled out.
You got 3 more.
Hey Penny, this game is almost a replication of the Alabama game where the other team was coming back. But what does it mean about the maturation of your guys to be able to hold on to that, and how important was their crowd in assisting you in that?
Well, it's so important because teams are going to go on runs. Like I said, this was a top 25 team, and it still is, in my book, a top 25 team. Have 4 starters back, they're going to make runs. They've been through they were in the SEC championship game last year. They know how to play. They had the SEC in steals last year, so really tough physical team. And for us to sustain that run, and they took the lead by 1 point, and then to go on our own run to finish the game. It says a lot about our schedule has helped us to get to this level, playing teams like this, and then our guys, what they have inside of them, the grit and the grind that they have inside of them, it shows.
Thank you, Coach. First of all, congratulations on the
Thank
win. On the stat sheet, obviously, Damari Franklin is not going to show that he had all this and that. But what does it say about the energy that you saw from him on the switches and defensive effort plays? The little plays. What does it say about him, especially in his first game in front of the fans and in the upcoming season?
I'll just say this about Damari. When he finally decided to come to Memphis, on the first conversation when he went into the portal, he was like, I love you guys' defense. I can't wait to get there to play defense. He never said anything about offense. He loved the way we scrambled. He loved the way we played. He knew it would fit his style. And that's what it says about him. He was worried about, being a part of the defense and wanting to be a part of the defense more so than anything. So I can appreciate him for that.
Last one.
Penny, you go 4-1 against SEC teams. in this non-conference show. How good do you feel about what you were able to accomplish? And I know you got one more against Alabama State, but you know, these major tests, how good do you feel about your team now that you're done with them?
I feel really good because, you know, all those teams were tough. To play Vandy and Vandy first game, that was a very tough game. Obviously, they've fallen off a little bit since we played them, but that very first game was a very tough game. And you know, the rest of the teams were all, you know, top, going to be in the upper echelon of the SEC. It says a lot about staff, a lot about the team, how they bought in, and the connectivity of all of us together, believing in one another, has gotten us that 4-1 record against the SEC. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.